Guess where this came from? Another mailbox song. Yeah. It's a quarter mile there and back, and on our property we could see just a peekaboo view of the mountains, but as soon as I come around the corner out of the driveway onto the main road, the mountains are there in all their glory. And when I come back, I have a feeling I'll be coming back again. I'll bring you one of my songs about the mountains. But this one is, again, that place again of questioning. What's going on? Where am I? What's happening? Where am I going? What's next? I don't know how to deal with this change. Whatever the change might be, it's a challenging thing. So again, I'm going to sing the first verse so you can get the melody, and then we'll sing it again and sing it all together. Something is shifting in me, and I don't know where it's going. Something that wants to be free, and it's strange and new and flowing under the surface, inside my heart space, revealing wholeness where once was pain. Something is shifting in me, and I open to it now. Let's do that again. Something is shifting in me, and I don't know where it's going. Something that wants to be free, and it's strange and new and flowing under the surface, inside my heart space, revealing wholeness where once was pain. Something is shifting in me, and I open to it now. Maybe even open physically. Let's do the next verse. Something is growing in me, and I don't know what is blooming. Roots growing down so deeply. There's a tenderness that's brewing into the depth of all of my power, lifting me up to shine my light. Something is growing in me, and I open to it now. Something is moving in me, and I feel a new beginning, releasing my fear graciously. See you later, fear. There's a web of connection spinning through every person, in every moment, connecting me to all of life. Something is moving in me, and I open to it now. I open to it now. I open to it now. Ooh, you guys sound so good. This may be my new favorite way of doing music with you. There's something just really powerful and beautiful about just plain voices singing together. It's a really lovely thing. So it's been a while since I've been here with you, and a lot of people are new, so I'm going to give you a little tiny bit of my history. For about 30 some odd years, I was a drama teacher in elementary schools, and then I became a minister. I didn't ever plan to become a minister, but that's where life took me. And then almost 7 years ago, it'll be 7 years in end of June, my husband and I, my mom and my bonus dad, moved up here from Southern California, well, from California. And I've been a minister since then. I've not done any drama teaching, but I also discovered while I was a drama teacher and while I was starting to teach adult spiritual growth classes, I kind of fell in by accident into this gift called improvisation, or improv. So I also became an improv teacher, but mostly for adults, although I use improv in a lot of my drama teaching in classrooms. And the reason that I teach improvisation is because people say it's really hard. I can't do improvisation. What am I going to say? And I remind people that nobody gave you a script when you got up today, that your whole entire life, from every single moment, has been an improvisation. Going with the flow and either saying, yeah, but, or yes, and. And improvisation, there are rules in improvisation. The first one is there are no rules. And then there are rules, which is funny to me. But one of the rules is yes, and. Instead of saying, yeah, but, this is why I can't do that, this is why it's too hard, this is why it's impossible. When you're doing an improv scene, you say yes to whatever your scene partner is giving you, and then you add to it. You add something to the scene. There's a phrase where they say, a person who asks questions in an improv scene is a thief. They're not giving any information to the scene. So you say yes to whatever's happening, and here's some more information. And here's another way to look at it. So as a life philosophy, yes, and has helped me a lot. So instead of saying, yeah, but this isn't going to work, or yeah, but I don't feel like doing it, yes, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. You know, we have all those variations, right? But when something is happening, we can say yes to it instead of no. Instead of saying, I don't want that. Well, too bad. This is happening. And then we get to say, and. How do I move forward? What do I do when I feel stuck? What do I do when I feel afraid? What do I do when I feel depressed, when I just don't have any energy? What do I do when I feel really resentful? Why do I have to be the one that's always trying? Why can't they be the one? Why do I always have to apologize? Why do I always have to start the conversation? Because sometimes you're just the person who does that. Sometimes. Be willing to make mistakes. We say in improv, there's no way to be wrong in an improvisation. And if your life is an improvisation, there's no way to be wrong in your life. You're doing what you're doing, and then maybe you catch yourself and go, oh, that wasn't exactly how I wanted to do that. And then we can rewind. I actually do that with my beloved husband who's sitting right here. Often, especially in the last 6 or 7 years, I would say. I've gotten a little more testy in the last 6 or 7 years. Things that I used to keep in my brain fall out of my mouth a lot more. I know, he's so smart. He says, like, really? When does that ever happen? That never happens. So sometimes I'll say something in a brusque way, or a sharp way, or a not loving and kind way, or in a frustrated way. You get the gist, right? And sometimes if I'm paying attention, I'll go, wait a minute, wait, hold on. I'm taking that back. What I meant to say was, I love you so much. Thank you for caring so much about this topic, that you're educating me about it. Thank you for caring so much about our home. I'm trying a thank you process. Instead of being my bitchy self, I'm trying the thank you. Stepping aside from what I think I heard and stepping back into really what's his intention. His intention is never to make me feel crappy, ever. But old programming, old ideas, old beliefs that I've still continued to drag into this 22-year marriage from relationships in the past sometimes color my reactions. And have nothing to do with this person who never wants me to feel bad, who's never trying to shame me, who's never trying to make me wrong, ever. But sometimes he says stuff in a way that comes out wrong, just like I do. And so our opportunity is to say, okay, there's no mistakes. This happened. Yes, there's a part of me that feels this. There's a part of me that is frustrated. There's a part of me that's angry. There's a part of me that's whatever it is. I can acknowledge that part and say, yeah, I hear you. And I'm choosing to take a breath, to take a little step back, not away from, but take a little step back from the confrontation or the energy that's happening. Just take a breath and a step back and say, okay, what's actually happening here? What is actually being said beyond what I think I heard or think I felt? My mom says this great phrase, and I use it a lot. My mom is also a minister, and she's a great, wise person. She says there are no mistakes. Mistakes. We separate the word a little bit. Mistakes. In movies and in like recordings of orchestras, there are no bad takes. There are just mistakes. So guess what? You get to do it again and again and again and again until you get it right. But nobody goes, you stink. You didn't do that right for the 400th time. She said she remembers hearing a recording of Leonard Bernstein conducting the Philharmonic Orchestra. And she could hear the orchestra play, and then he'd go, no, 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 let's go back to measure 27. And then somewhere in the background, she heard take 24. Okay, let's go back to measure 27, take 300. And he never yelled at the orchestra. He just kept having them do it until they got it right. So when we make a mistake, can we separate that word into two parts? Oh, that was a mistake. What I meant to say was, let's rewind that film. Now, that's kind of weird for me because I specialize in live theater. When you do live theater, whatever's happening, you keep going. You can't rewind and do it again. And life doesn't often give us an opportunity to do things over again. And, yes, and we can take the opportunity to say, you know what, that came out wrong. That's not what I meant. We can take a new take, even if it makes us feel silly, even if it makes us feel momentarily wrong for how we showed up in that particular second. Because probably most of us in this room, I would guarantee that most of us in this room, that all of us in this room are at heart kind, compassionate, loving, caring people. And how many of us have made mistakes? Thank you for, oh, I saw a couple hands not going up. Liar! I mean, yes, and, exactly. Yes, and helps us to continue to move forward and not get stuck in what happened or who said what or how did that exactly go, because we can't recreate that moment anyway. We've always got it colored by our own perception. There's a great game that, again, my mom taught my brother and I when we were kids, when we would go to a nice restaurant. You know, they didn't have McDonald's play places when most of us were children. So you had to sit in the restaurant and be bored. No fancy phones, maybe a coloring plate, maybe. But she didn't want us to get in trouble. We were active, busy children, my brother and I. You can imagine. So she would give us a napkin or a spoon or some object on the table, usually not ketchup or something messy. And she would say, well, what else could it be besides this? And make our brain have to be activated and curious and look at things in a new way. So I was looking around this room and saying, what do I want to use for this game? Because we're going to play a little game. So I found this rock sitting on the floor. It's a really beautiful, smooth, pretty rock. But I don't want you to worry about that it's a rock. I want you to just look at the shape. And don't even worry about the size. Use your imagination. What if it was 3 times bigger than this building? What if it was teeny tiny? Looking at just the shape, what else do you see? What else could it be besides a rock? And there are no wrong answers here. You can't be wrong. It's your imagination. So who else has an idea of what this could be? Yes? A hard cloud. Oh, I like that. Or just a soft cloud floating in the sky. Yeah, excellent. A piece of bread. Excellent. Good. A soap bar. A used soap bar because it's not rectangular anymore. A fava bean. Great. A mud puddle. I love that. That's great. What else? A business card from God. Ah, cool. I love that. Oh, that's a whole new way to look at rocks. All the rocks you see are now a business card from God. I love that. That's awesome. What else could it be? Just look at the shape. It's kind of an interesting shape, isn't it? Yes? Like a bed headboard. Oh, a bed headboard. That's excellent. See, when you don't worry about size, what else could it be? A pillow. Excellent. There's no wrong answers. What else? Yes. Oh yeah, that is perfect. See, you guys, you're stretching your brain already. This game is a great game to play wherever you go, wherever you are. Find an object, a shape. I'm looking at the round clock and the chair and this microphone stand. There's shapes everywhere. And what this game reminds us is that we're looking at something from a particular point of view, a particular perspective, and we think we know what it is. But what if it was something else? What else could it be? Could that person who snapped at us and we think, they hate me, they don't like me? What if they were just having a really bad day? What if they had just heard some terrible news? What if they just got cut off and they're a little shaken? We don't have any idea what's going on in somebody else. And we assume all the time that it's, number one, it's about us, because everything's about us, right? My phrase when I was younger used to be, it's all about me. But what I didn't mean that it actually was all about me. I meant that it was all about my perspective and how I'm looking out at the world. The world is the way I think the world is to me. And to you, the world is the way you think the world is. And we know definitely from this teaching that we change our thoughts, we change our life, we change our perspective, and we start looking at a broader context outside of our own. I've got an incredible imagination, but spirit has a much bigger one. And that imagination is expressed through all of life, not just human life, but all of life, including the rocks and the dirt and the sky and the stars and the multitude of planets. And we are equally as important as all of those things, and they are as equally important as we are. I often say, if spirit chose to coalesce atoms into a you and a me, when it could have made a planet or a tree instead, but it chose to make a you and a me, then we automatically belong, we're automatically worthwhile, we're automatically valuable. Because spirit could have chose to coalesce these atoms in a million other different ways, right? Absolutely. And by asking the question, what else can it be, you engage curiosity. Curiosity can become your superpower when you're overwhelmed, when you're underwater, when you have no energy left, when you're so mad. Curiosity, breathing, opens us up to what else might be going on here. Where else might I be bringing something to this encounter? What might else be going on with that person? And maybe even ask, what's going on, honey? What's going on? Feels like there's some energy going on, and I don't know what it is. And I could respond to, or react to it, or I could respond to it. Reaction is force against force, which never creates anything more than more force. That's just a quantum physics law. That's a physics law. Force creates more force. Responding creates a spaciousness and a space between whatever is going on and the other person or the event or the news or whatever's happening. Response versus reaction. I'm able to respond. That's what makes us responsible. I am response-able. I'm able to respond. Sometimes we're reactive. We go, oops. Ooh, that was okay. That was a reaction right there. Let me just take a step backwards. Let me try that again. Let me say that in a different way. Let me look at it differently. Let me move over here and look at it. Or look at it from this point of view. It looks very different by when we change our point of view. So can we engage curiosity as our superpower? It's one of my most favorite practices, to be just curious, which means we're open. We can't be curious and closed. Curiosity automatically helps us to stay open when every part of us wants to clamp down on what we think is the truth. Clamping down never helps us. We're either open or we're contracted, open or closed. And that's a good question to ask ourselves. In this moment, am I feeling open or am I feeling closed? Not good or bad, right or wrong, loving or unloving, but just a simple, am I feeling open or am I feeling closed? And just noticing our own feelings in the moment. What's happening in my body? Oh, I know I'm feeling closed. When my stomach clenches, when my chest feels squeezed, and when my face gets really hot. Somebody says something to me that activates an old defense mechanism, my cheeks get extra, I mean, they're already pink, but they get extra pink. So I get a flush of heat, and I feel this contraction in my heart space. And that's what the breath does, is it helps to release that. Okay, I'm a little more open now. Let me take another breath. Okay, now I'm open. Now let's see what's next. What do I want to do next? How do I continue to move forward? In some of the most challenging times of my life, my mantra became, can I do the next 10 minutes? Not can I do today, or this week, or this month, or when we're really in the doo-doo, we're like, it's gonna be like this forever. And it never is. It never is forever. And it feels like that, right? Feels like this is the way it's going to be from now on. So even if that's true, which it's not, but even if that were true, being curious, can I do the next 10 minutes? What can I do in the next 10 minutes to take care of myself so that I could be more open for the people I love? What can I do in the next 10 minutes to make my house feel loved? Maybe if I can't do something emotionally, I can do something physically. Maybe I can take a walk for 10 minutes. Can I do the next 10 minutes? How can I do the next 10 minutes? Am I willing to try the next 10 minutes? Maybe that means you take a nap for 10 minutes. That's okay too. So I said a lot of stuff today, and what I want to do, because in my ministerial practice these days, I'm not as comfortable being the only voice of wisdom in the room, because I know full well this room is full of wisdom. And so I'm going to open it up to the floor. So if you have a question, a comment, a reaction, a response, anything you'd like to share with the room, or anything you'd like me to speak about, because I'm an improv person, it's okay with me. And because this is how life works, right? We just go with the flow, with whatever's happening now. So I open the floor. Anything you want to say or know more about or share, or something that struck you in what I said. And you don't have to share the particulars in the room if you don't want to. That's perfectly fine. It's safe. But just know that, we're all here to hold you in consciousness and love and confidence, even those of you online. So anybody have something they'd like to ask or share or comment on? Great. Yes, way in the back. Remember, there's no wrong questions, there's no wrong answers.
This is my first time here.
Well, welcome. Thank you for being brave.
Well, I wanted to say I've never seen a minister laugh so much and have so much joy in her presentation, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That is one of my superpowers, humor and joy, because even in the darkest of times, I have a little bit of a dark humor, and I can find humor in just about anything.
Asha, I'm curious.
Yes. Yay!
We want to have you back, so please keep us in mind.
Absolutely.
And thank you for coming. And your messages are always so practical and pointed.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, because that is a skill that most people don't have, to be able to give a good message that's fun, easy to listen to, interactive. And I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I tried to do different kinds of traditional types of talking early on in my ministerial career, and what I discovered is I can only speak to things that are meaningful to me. Ultimately, I can't know what's going on in your life, but I can know what happens with me as a human being, and how much of my life I spent pushing away my humanity. I only wanted to be my spiritual self. But I finally woke up to the fact that if I'm in a human body, Spirit put me here to experience my humanity. Not just my higher spiritual, most glorious thoughts, but the grit and the dirt and the muck of being human. The essential tremor, the times I had Bell's palsy on one side of my face and then the other. The stuff that we've all experienced that's hard and challenging and uncomfortable and painful. That's part of our blessing of being in a human body in this particular package with all of its weird intricacies and its particularities. And our individual particularities as a human that make it challenging to be with other humans sometimes. Because, well, I don't do that. Why do you do that? That's weird. Well, no, that's their particularity. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't like liver. And I don't care how you serve it. I'm never going to like liver. That's one of my particularities. So do we have to like the things that each other likes? No. Do we have to think the way each other thinks? No. We are all unique, individual, spectacular beings. And we are all one, all connected.
I would just like to say that about 22 or 3 years ago, I heard a teacher say what you just said, the two words, no mistakes. And I felt like the freedom in my life just multiplied a millionfold.
Yeah.
Because I thought I'd been making so many mistakes all those 50 years.
Yeah.
And to find out there are no mistakes was great freedom.
That's awesome. I was just talking with a friend of mine, and a weird synchronous, series of circumstances happened, and some stuff unlocked and opened for her that had been closed for a long time. And it wouldn't have happened without this very particular set of circumstances that unfolded within a week for her. And she said, at the beginning of the week, my life looked like one thing, and now it looks like a completely different thing. And I couldn't have planned that. I couldn't have organized that. It had to happen in divine time. I wanted to feel this way, 10 years ago, but it was orchestrated for me to feel this way now. And that's hard for, I'm going to say it's hard for me. I won't say it's hard for you, but it's hard for me to be patient. When I want something that I feel like is a divine good for me and doesn't do any harm to anybody else, because that's how you know that it's divine good. It doesn't harm me or anybody else. And it looks like it's good for a lot of people concerned, including me. And it's supposed to happen right now, right? I mean, we talk about manifesting and it's going to be manifested right now, but sometimes that's not what's supposed to happen. When we started looking to move up here, when we were clear, this is where we want to live, my mom and I have what I call magic house finding juju. We say we want a house, we find a place, we know where we're living, we move in within a month. Boom, done. We started looking, it took 9 months. I said we had to birth this place. 9 months until we found the perfect location, the perfect property that had the perfect buildings on it. And by about month 6, my planner, organizer, I make things happen through my manifestation and my power was going nuts. It's never gonna work. It's futile. Just give up now. And then my other part of my brain go, no, take a breath, take a step back, just keep moving, keep packing boxes, because packing boxes is telling the universe, yes, we're going. We really mean it. We're not giving up. So we kept packing boxes, kept cleaning up house, kept building the sunroom that needed to get built on our old home. And then in 9 months, the perfect place for us unfolded itself. And within 4 days, we made an offer, we had a 30-day close, then the magic juju was back again. But it had never left, it was just waiting. Because every place else we looked at was like a too small shoe on a too big of a foot. You can wear those shoes to the wedding, but not ever again. The ladies know what I'm talking about, right? They look real nice sitting down, but they are not good standing up shoes. So all those other places would have required a ton of work and a ton of remodeling and a ton of redecorating. And we could have made it work. But do we have to? Do we have to make it work? Or can we allow the right and perfect thing in its perfect time? Oh, that's so hard. To unfold for us, because we believe that the universe is for us, never against us, but for us. And if that's true, not in my time, but in thy time, it becomes our mantra. Not in my time, but in divine time. Oh, that's hard. And that's what a spiritual community can help us remember. That's the power of spiritual community. You can call somebody and say, I don't know what's going on and I'm freaking out. I know. Just let's breathe for a minute. I hear your frustration. I acknowledge your pain. I acknowledge the human feelings that are going on within you. And there's something else at work here that we just can't see yet. Trust the process. Trust the process. Okay. One more step. Anything else? I'd love to hear from you. Yes.
I'm right in the middle of one of those right now. All the places that we're going to even be temporary homes for everything done like that. And I've got that story of manifesting
Right.
juju thing that you do normally.
You got a mic right there.
Yeah. And so I'm going, why is my juju not working? And for me, it's been 7 years of wanting to have a place, but, so actually my feet are kind of dangling at the moment, and it's exactly the place that I've
what you're talking about today
Yeah.
is where I've been zooming into, probably because you've been praying for me and visualizing, but it's like, I'm just packing. I'm sorting through my stuff and getting what I need to carry in my car. And just this morning while you were talking, it occurred to me that I have a car. I don't have to sleep on the street. Not that any guys, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I got lots of friends, but it's just, you know, there's still that feeling that's in there, you know? And so it's like, I was like, wow, how many people don't have a car where they can have their stuff with them?
Right.
And I can get in that, and
Go
money
anywhere.
that I do have, I can drive somewhere if I need to. And I have friends, but it's just that thing you're talking about the next 10 minutes of like, what is it I can do right now?
Yeah.
I've done all I can. I did all my online connections today for jobs and for houses and for whatever. Is that
Yeah.
pack and, you know, listen to a talk on YouTube or, you know, a movie or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can dangle your feet and still be held.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the tendency, I know, again for me, but I'm assuming for maybe you, is why isn't my juju working? Why isn't it working for me? What did I do wrong? Am I not enough? Well, what if I am enough? Like we sang at the beginning. What if I am enough? What if I have enough? What if all that is all still there? We didn't make any mistakes. We weren't wrong. We just were misguided or informed by our truth of the moment, not the capital T truth, but the truth of the moment. So take a breath, let it go. One more, let it go. Close your eyes, just settle in. We're not going to do a long meditation today, but I just want you to close your eyes and sink into the spaciousness at the heart of your being that is always there, always present. Sometimes we feel so alone, and we're never alone, ever. His presence is us, within us, expressing through us, and every other person, even when that's hard to see. Sink into the place of curiosity. When you were little, when you were really little, you guys already still have this. When you're curious about everything. What's that? How does that work? What does that look like? Why is this that way? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Without judgment, but curiosity contains no judgment. Sink into that place where you feel something shifting in you, something growing within. And you don't know what it is or where it's going, but you just know that there's been something poking at you over and over again. It's time to try this. It's time to let go of that. It's time to be open, to say yes, and imagine you've got a golden bubble of light at the center of your being, and imagine that it keeps expanding and bumps into the people next to you in this room, and it expands to fill this room with golden light. And it spills out the windows and the doors and the ceiling and out into the streets and across the peninsula and across the whole planet. This golden light that connects all of us in the one life that is our life now. Let go of before, let go of later. Be here now. Now is where every possibility is available. Now is where the potential is. Now is where there is peace and love and kindness and compassion. Take a breath. Let it go. One more. Let it go. And one more. Let it go. Thank you so, so much.